Jakob Ingebrigtsen is going to do in the 1500. He has time to look behind him. 20 years of age, and he is on top of the world.
But coming down for a maiden national crown, Cornwall is the champion.
Garou's has run his race, or has he? Has he got anything left? El Garou's trying to get there. Kipchoge, the junior's there. El Garou's is trying to get to the line. Kenya wins it. Kipchoge takes
Vivian Chariot's turn. And what a proud moment for her and the Kenyans. The first woman from her nation to take the 5,000 metre title. Vivian Chariot's in dreamland.
on the outside. Ollie Hoare of Australia comes. Jake Whiteman has just spent. It's going to be Chariot and Hoare. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Australia. The gold.
Before we get into it, a quick word from the sponsor of this episode. Stability has never felt better than with the ASICS Gel Keanu 30 shoe. Updated with a 4D guidance system for support right when you need it, pure gel technology for softer landings every time, and FF Blast plus Eco cushioning for an even more comfortable ride. Philo Saunders is a well-known name in Australian elite running. A 3:41 1500 metre runner, Philo holds the Australian record for the 40 to 45 year old age category over 1500 metres with an amazing 3:45. Philo is a Senior Sports Physiologist at the Australian Sports Commission and also is one of Australia's best coaches. Under his tutelage include stars like Jarryd Clifford, Roeger and Deon Kenzie. We caught up with Philo for a quick chat and recapped the recent Para-World Champs, dived into training, injuries and heaps more. Philo, been a while, been meaning to have you on the podcast for ages. How are you going?
Good, Sam. Thanks for having me. Yep.
What's news? You're back in Canberra, obviously, post-World Champs?
Yep, back in Canberra. So, yeah, good campaign away. So, just back from Paris for the Para Worlds, where we had some good results. And, yeah, good block of training before that in Flagstaff. So, yeah, it was good.
Let's have a bit of a recap. Obviously, you had your two big, very well-known athletes at World Champs. They both have had challenging kind of, injury stuff, but are very fit and ran very well. Let's just run through. Let's start with Jarryd first.
Yep. So Jarryd was entered in the 5,000 and the 1,500 at World Champs. Back after a lower leg stress fracture, like within the last 12 months or so, but was in the best shape he's been in, had some good domestic races, I think around 3:42, a bunch of times sort of around 14:10 for 5K, and he was ready to go. Sort of halfway through flag, he got a little bit sore, ended up having another stress fracture in his femur, which definitely impacted his results, but he still came out with a silver medal. Slow tactical race, came down to sort of the last 200 between him and the Spaniard who beat him in Tokyo, and Jarryd made hard move 200 to go, probably a bit of a panic move just where he was with the injury, and the Spaniard beat him pretty comfortably in the last 100, but silver medal is still awesome result, especially with the last few weeks he had in the lead-in. So, and then he obviously pulled out of the 1,500 due to the injury.
And let's run through the injury quickly.
Yep. So he had stress fracture in his shaft of his femur, probably upper portion, but not too high. He had an MRI, X-ray, and CT scan over in Montpellier, where we had our staging camp. We had the medical support there, and showed obviously it was more than just a stress reaction. Obviously had gone into the cortex of the bone. So it was sort of weighing up whether it was worth running or not, or whether he's like risk snapping his femur in the process. And I suppose the decision we came to was he had enough rest and the risk was minimal that he was going to cause more damage. So basically he just ran the one race. He thought the 5K was his best chance with what he'd missed. Obviously the 15 was going to be tougher with the amount of speed work and just that sort of pop that he'd sort of missed in the last period. But just sort of backed himself to still be able to win a gold medal on the 5K.
And has he had many stresses before?
These are his first 2 injuries really ever. Yeah.
Was he pushing it, was he kind of just pushing the training, trying to get that little bit extra in before Worlds, or was it just one of those?
I don't think so. And we were quite conservative in our rebuild, and probably even was thinking he could do more, like thinking he's probably fully recovered and ready to go. So I don't think we were pushing it. Obviously, you get into a training camp environment with some of the best guys, and maybe you're going a little bit harder in there. Maybe we did a little bit more in the lead up than he was ready for, but nothing that he's never done before. So yeah, you always review what went in and what could have caused it. But until something like that happens, like at the time, I wouldn't have thought we were pushing the issue at all. Like I think we were pretty confident where he was.
And I presume he's having 6 or 7 weeks in the pool now, and then the build up to next year will begin.
Yep, build-up's probably already started now, so he's already had a period off. We didn't really cross-train, just use it as a time just to refresh physically and mentally after the big build. So he spent a bit of time travelling afterwards. I actually just caught up with him in Melbourne on Friday. We had a bit of a review with the team, and he's starting the run rebuild as we speak. So,
Let's move on to Rogues. He dropped I think it was a 344 in Portland for over 1,500, and he's obviously had his own share of bony kind of stress reactions and that sort of stuff. So let's go through Rogues as world champs, his injuries, and how he's going now.
Yep. So obviously Tokyo, Rogues was running the marathon. He's sort of built from there since Rio. That was the event he was focused on winning gold on. We thought it was almost a shoe-in gold medal the way he's running. He'd run 2:18. I reckon the next guy in his class was maybe 2:25. But he got a stress fracture in his lower leg in the lead up. Probably a longer time before the race than Jarryd, and battled hard physically and mentally to try to get himself to the start line, but his body just gave way during the marathon, and I think he ended up coming 5th, which was pretty shattering for him. And then even more devastating was the World Para decided to get rid of the T46 marathon as a Paralympic event. So for Rogues to win that elusive Paralympic gold, he had to transition back to the 1,500 metres. We pretty much stripped it back to square one for Rogues. So we went back to 0 running. We tried to get on top of a few niggles that he'd had ongoing as a marathon runner, probably specifically a high hamstring tendinopathy that he'd been carrying. So our goal was to get that as strong as we could in the gym, and then sort of rebuild the running to what he needed to be a gold medal, so over 1,500. Obviously, he had super good base from the marathon running. We wanted to focus on being strong, fast, elastic, all those things that go into being a good 1,500 metre runner. And I think we got to Worlds ahead of schedule. I think Rogues was pretty disappointed he didn't win a gold medal, but to think he was going to run a PB after being out of 1,500 metre runner for 5 years and run a 344, I think the gold medal became real because he got into that sort of shape so quickly. He ran awesome. He executed our plan. He basically sat in for the first lap and then just tried to break the field from the front, running 60-second laps, which he did. He got a bit unlucky. I think the Bulgarian guy who beat him, everything went in his favour. He nearly got broken. He got a bit of a sit behind a Kenyan guy who sort of went out with Rogues but didn't. With a lap to go, you would have thought Rogues had the gold, but with 200 to go, the Bulgarian got a sniff and just got past him. But I think just with the lead up, the 344, he ran another 348 in Watford and windy conditions. And I think you take that 68-second first lap, you probably would have time trialled a 347 in quite windy conditions in Paris. So I think when you reflect with Rogues, we've got to a position where we can win a gold medal next year. And it's pretty exciting, I think. And his body is probably the best it's been for a long time. So similar with Jarryd, he's not gone to square one, but he's just taken a bit of time off to get over the Worlds and then just get ready for the next one, which is the big one next year.
How self-motivated are Rogues and Jarryd? I mean, I know social media is, half fake and there's a lot of shit on there, but they seem from the outside world to just be these two guys who would just have constant energy and motivation, who never get down and out, never get depressed. I mean, what's the reality from a coach's perspective?
Yeah, no, they're definitely super motivated guys and are so driven to be the best they can be. Both of them in their own way, holding them back can be the key. Like, obviously, especially someone like Rogues will do whatever you give him and more. Like, he wants to be the best athlete he can be, and he's used to hard work. He's used to pushing his body and wanting to be better every day. So sometimes it's sort of almost going backwards is the way you have to go forwards. Like, but both super motivated guys, both enjoy pushing themselves to the limit, and both are so high achieving. They want to represent Australia at the highest level. They want to win gold medals. They want to break world records, and they want to bring parasport to the highest level in world sport. And they've both done a great job in doing that. So, but I know, like, with all their achievements, the one thing missing for both of them is a gold medal at the Paralympics. So next year is going to be pretty important just to make sure that we can get, I think both of them, we know we can get to the gold medal position. Like, they've shown it time and time again in races and able-bodied races and at World Championships. But injuries probably for both of them have come at the wrong times at different stages. So I think the key is not to try to be better than you've been. Like, the best you've been is going to be good enough. It's just getting there in the right physical, mental state to compete. So I think we're close, and I'm pretty confident they'll both win golds next year.
That would be amazing to see, mate. I hope you're right there. How important? I mean, you guys go, I think, to Perisher a bit. Hey, when during the Australian summer, but also Flagstaff. You're a big fan, obviously, of these high altitude camps.
Yeah, I think they're critical. Like, I've been using altitude back in my PhD days with Dick Telford, and as an athlete, I know how I feel after a good altitude training camp. I know how I compete and train afterwards, and just from what I've seen with my athletes too. So, yeah, I think twice a year minimum is sort of what you need to maximise the benefits from altitude. So, yeah, like I said, we try to get to Perisher in the domestic summer once or twice, and then we always try to get up to Flagstaff when we can. So I think it was 4 years since we've been, like, with COVID and everything. So and seeing how the athletes prepared, like, and we haven't talked about Deon Kenzie either, another one of my athletes who was just out of the medal, but he got into some pretty awesome shape up at Flagstaff. Angus Hinksman, another guy who trains with Simon Moran in Adelaide, got a bronze medal in his first World Champs team. He done 2 or 3 Perisher camps with us and came up to Flagstaff for the first time. So, and I remember Deon and Jarryd in the early days, I think they were critical camps in their sort of build along the way. So, yeah, part of my training structure to get up to altitude, and they're the go-to places for us.
Do you get any of the athletes sleeping in kind of altitude tents when they're back at home, or not so much?
No, not at all. Yeah.
Nice, mate.
I've done leaf high training in the past. We've had altitude houses in Canberra, and like, they can be effective. But I think particularly for the middle distance events, there's something about the training at those moderate to high altitudes. Some of the anaerobic adaptations you get, just that feeling when you come down. So, leaf high train load's got its place, but I think if I've got the option to train at altitude, I usually use that. I always will use that.
Philo, I saw on just chatting to some people and on social media that you've been completing track sessions with the squad, and I mean, I saw a photo of you with your shirt off, and it looked like you were in your 25 still, like with 0 body fat. So, what's going on? How fit are you? Are you still kind of sub 350 shape or what?
Yeah, no, I'm in good shape. Had a bit of time off in, when was it, 2022. Did a bit of travelling around Australia. Got to your great country in WA. Didn't run for a bit, but since then I've been, slowly building back into some of the best shape I've been in for a while. Haven't really shown it in the race. I think around a 3:59 in Portland. I jumped in the 1500 there with the boys. But I think the way I've been training, like sub 350 is definitely probably where I'm at. I'm training as well as better than guys that ran well under 350 this year. So, but I'm pretty happy with that. I always like being able to push the boys in training, and you just feel good when you can train at that level when you've been doing it for so long. So, probably 100 Ks a week, thereabouts, 110 Ks a week with 3 good sessions. So, back feeling good again.
I remember back in, I think it was 220, and you told me that you'd broken 350 over 1,500, 127 times at that point. Do you know what the number is now?
Yeah, probably about the same, maybe one more. Yeah. I haven't done it for a while. I think the last time I broke 350 was maybe 2018. So, and just for those listening, you clocked a 345 at what age? Can you remind me? Was it like 41 or 42? Yeah, about 41. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit. That's the Australian record, right? For the 40 to 45-year-old group? Yeah.
I think I made my last Australian final when I was 40 back in 2017.
Yeah. Just quickly, when you were 41 and you dropped that 345, what were you doing anything different than when you were, 25, 26? Were you spending a whole lot more time in the gym, working on your body, or was it just same? I
think one of the keys is just being consistent. Like, I've never really dropped off my top speed, never really dropped off on the strength conditioning, never had a lot of time off. So I think keeping those things at a high level. And I think when I was ran 345, I was probably doing sessions exactly the same as or even better than when I was running 341. So maybe in the right race, I would have run a bit quicker. I think consistency is probably the big thing. But a lot of S&C and a lot of speed work. I think maybe I don't think I reckon I'd run 200 meters almost as fast now as I would when I was early 20s.
And is that like you're working on your speed work a lot more now in your mid 40s or whatever compared to, when you're in your early 20s? Or,
maybe a bit more specific speed development work, like stuff like raw speed development over 30 meters, 60 meters, 90 meters, that type of thing. Maybe a bit more focus on like strength and power in the gym, rather than just, I suppose, having naturally speed and doing a fast 200 at the end of the session or some fast 300s, like a bit more specific speed development maybe. Yep.
And obviously, you're a big fan of the gym. Can we just quickly go through that? So are you lifting heavy weights and doing like low numbers of reps, or are you doing kind of both?
Both as in, I don't ever do high number of reps just for endurance. So high weight, low reps, definitely, for the strength. Lower weights and like specific lifts for power. So clean snatches, push press, those type of things. Still like activation drills, plyometrics in the program, specific sort of single leg symmetry stuff on the hammies. A lot of work on the posterior chain, which is what produces the force and power of running. So, probably a well-balanced program. So working on drills, plyos, speed, power, strength. But I got about a squat 140 kilos, 4 sets of 5.
Man, that's awesome. And are you the one setting this for your squad? Like, you're a switch-on guy. Are you the one setting this strength program, or do you have a strength and conditioning person that takes care of that?
A bit of both. So for all the guys in Canberra, I'll set the gym program, and I'll liaise with people here. Like, I work pretty closely with the physiotherapist here who pretty much comes to most of our gym sessions. So depending on where an athlete is, we'll work on different things in the gym. So, but I set the program. I try to learn as much as I can over time from people in the field. Got my level 2 strength conditioning qualification. So, I set it. But then for someone like Jarryd, who's in Melbourne, he works in with the VIS S&C, and I just felt that's a better fit. They're there for every session. They can sort of modify things on the fly, and I've been down several times to go through the program and maybe make some modifications here and there. So a bit of both.
And is it twice a week? How many times a week are they doing these programs, the gym sessions?
Yeah, twice a week. For Jarryd and Roeger, when they're sort of working on a specific building phase, it's probably 3 times. So when we're trying to get Roeger's hammies really strong, we were doing 3 sessions a week in the gym because we had a specific purpose. But generally, it'll be twice a week. Usually Monday, Friday, but sometimes Monday, Wednesday. If we sort of got a race on Saturday, but nice. two is sort of the minimum.
And you're going to get up there. Sorry.
Probably 3, I'd say, because on Monday, like our specific speed development, we'll have a lot of drills and pliers in the warm up. So I suppose you could say 3.
Gotcha. That's quite a lot. Hey, it's cool. Are we going to see you out this summer racing?
I think so. Yeah. See if it's just 1500 or a few other distances. So but I think I'll jump out in a few races.
Nice. Oh, cool, mate. Well, we're going to keep it short and sweet. The idea is just to, have it a good length for people's kind of recovery runs or, second run of the day. And it was great chatting to you. Good luck leading into, obviously, the Olympics next year with the squad. And I hope to see them get those elusive gold medals that they both deserve so badly. Yeah,
it'd be awesome. And I suppose the other thing with it, the team's gone from probably Jarryd, Roeger and Deon to, we had 7 at Para Worlds this year. So really starting to increase the breadth and depth of distance running in the para stream. So that was really good this year. A couple of new people on the team.
It's insane what you've achieved. And just, are they, or I know Jarryd spends a lot of time in Melbourne, but all 7 of them, are they all kind of spending a lot of time in Canberra, or are they dispersed around the country? Where are they all at?
So most of them, so I coach obviously Roeger, Jarryd, Deon directly. Then there's Angus, who's done a lot with us. So Simon coaches him, and Simon was over there, which was great for the final period. So he's done a lot with us. Reese is in Melbourne now, but used to train with me in the squad, and did a bit with him in the staging camp. And then we've got a couple of new people. So Dan Malone, who trains with Gavin Burren in Melbourne. So he's a T20 intellectually disabled runner. Awesome kid, brought a lot of energy to the group and a lot of ability too. And then Annabelle Coleman, another T20 female runner, who's coached by Anthony Di Castella and Liz Gosper in Melbourne as well. And both of those guys have done a couple of camps in Canberra where they sort of jumped in with the squad. And so I suppose finger in with everyone and try to work with the coaches who are still coaching those other athletes.
Mate, that's awesome. Mate, inspirational chatting to you. It's amazing how quick you're still running and what you've done with your squad, and catch you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.